see science take over from religion in this new millennium as the way of understanding ourselves. Because you see, what's happened in the past is we've had the wrong science. The science we have in the past is based on Democritus, which is the materialistic science. The idea that atoms are particles that move. But this is wrong. Albert Einstein showed us that atoms are particles of movement. Because energy is no thing. Energy is pure movement. So our universe is formed of particles of pure activity, particles of movement. And this is what Buddha was teaching. This is what the Chinese sages are teaching. This is the whole, if you read Fittok Capra, you know, the Tao of Physics, it's the dance of Shiva. The universe is not Shiva dancing, it's the dance of Shiva. So there's no Shiva there dancing. It's the dance that creates Shiva. Okay? So the movement exists before the matter. So particles of motion are particles of energy, and there's nothing there that's existing that's underlying them. There's no thing that moves. They're more like thoughts than things because they're particles of abstraction. What this physics is showing us is the truth in the matrix moving. That we're in the matrix, we're inside a computer program. We're made of little impulses. We think we're real, but it's all an illusion. This is what the Indian mystic said, Maya, the illusion. It's amazing the conclusions we come to when you get the physics right. We're in a dream. You know, the Aboriginals talk about the dream state. We're in a dream state. You know, when we move on from this state, we'll wake up as from a dream. Nothing really matters. That's the important thing. We just don't want to take ourselves too seriously, and yet everything matters. You know, it's that paradox. But the thing that underlies everything is consciousness. Particles of energy are not acts of a thing, not acts of a material substance. They're acts of consciousness. So consciousness is the bedrock of reality. It's the conscious awareness, and this is the ground of quantum theory. The Copenhagen interpretation of quantum theory says things only exist to the extent they are observed. So there's the universal observer. That's why things exist. You know, the dream only exists if there's a dreamer dreaming the dream. The dreamer ceases to be. The dream ceases to be, but then the dreamer, if the dreamer has no substance, also ceases to be because the dreamer does nothing but dream a dream. Do you see the idea? So there's the consciousness and the activity, and each depends on the other. There's no separation. God, the universe, and consciousness are one. But look at this. In the physics, we realize that all protons have identical characteristics, which means that they come from like the same hand. It's like there's one consciousness underlying all the particles in the universe. This suggests the oneness of consciousness. And many other reasons that I could go through, which I cover in my book, why there's only one consciousness. But consciousness is inseparable. You can't divide it into bits. So the energy is in bits, but the consciousness underlying them, bits of energy, is one. Now, Robin, you're conscious. Daniel, you're conscious. You're looking at me through your eyes. But actually, it's the same me in you. You're the American me. I'm the English you. Our bodies may be different, but what's looking out of your eyes is the same consciousness. We're the same being. Priscilla, you are me in a female body. I am you in a male body. You're going through different experiences because you're married to Robin. You see? I'm going through different experiences because of the life I'm leading, but the consciousness underlying us is the same one consciousness. So we're the one being in the many bodies. And that's what it is to be a human being. Hermes coined our name. Hu means God in ancient Egyptian. We are the God being. We're God in the body. The one being in the many bodies. What a gas. If you're the one God, what a bore. If you know everything, what is there to know? What is there to find out? If you're everywhere, where is there to go? It's a formula for absolute boredom. No nookie, no fun, no sex, I mean. Wow, if you want to break that pattern. So God divides the consciousness. And again, it's total illusion. This is where you get the division into energy. So the one becomes the many quanta of energy, the quanta of humanity, the quanta or bits of sand. Quanta simply means bit. So this is the great contribution of physics to our understanding of God. The quantization, the becoming bits, quantities. That's where the fun begins. Male and female. What a dance between the opposites, the duality of male and female, of father and son. And eventually, the consciousness ends up in these bodies where instead of being all powerful, we're totally vulnerable. Instead of being the one, we're the many. Instead of being everywhere, we're locked into a single spot in space and time. We're God having fun. We're God where no God has ever gone before. This is where the excitement is, the adventure, the experience. We're God growing in wisdom. I mean, God on the golden throne being fed grapes by passing archangels. Passing archangels. What a ball. That's nothing. But to be God on this planet with a mortgage and 6 screaming kids, now you try being God. You try to stay conscious, do you see? So this is the great adventure. So we shouldn't be bowing down to God. God should be bowing down to us. It's the other way around, in the sense that, and if you think God's perfect, you look at humanity. Because really humanity reveals God in all his or her and her imperfections. If you want to see the perfection of God, look at yourself, your shadow, your angel as well as your inner demon. No. God is us. We are it. And if we can't get it right, God can't get it right. Very important point that. If we can't get it right, God can't get it right. It's no good expecting God to fix it. We've got to fix it. So that's what I'm going to talk about in a moment, how we as God is going to fix it. But first of all, we'll talk a little bit more about ourselves and the nature of the universe. There is more than the physical. There could be other quantum levels in the universe, just like the atom. And these could be the higher dimensions. So the planes of energy, these are different quantum states of energy. They're not separated by space and time, because space and time is created by the vortex on each level. So they all coexist in the same here and now. These different planes or dimensions or levels of energy are separated by their intrinsic speed. So all the energies are coincident, but they're in the same here and now, separated by their speed. It's a bit like Russian dolls. The lesser world is part of the greater world because lesser speeds are part of greater speeds. So these are two cosmic laws. One is all the worlds or planes are in simultaneous existence in their own space and time. And two, the lesser worlds based on slow speeds are part of the greater worlds based upon fast speeds. Using those two cosmic laws, we can explain everything in the supernatural and spiritual. For example, the old idea of angels is that they're beings that are all around us, but we're not aware of them because they're moving too fast. Isn't that interesting? They recognize the separation between us and the spirits, or spiritual beings, was a factor of speed. Now, frequency of vibration, that is a metaphor. So, what evidence is there of intelligent beings that are all around us, but we're not aware of them because they're moving too fast? What evidence is there that our world is part of a greater world and that intelligent beings exist in the greater world? Well, art. In other words, if these beings exist, how would they communicate with us? Would they talk to us? Well, I mean, which language would they choose? Chinese, Swahili, Japanese, English, French? No. Why not communicate in pictures? I don't know whether any of you have ever experimented with communicating with plants and animals, but you communicate in pictures. So if they're communicating with us, that's how they do it. It's natural. So they paint pictures in their world. Our cornfields are like canvases to them. And that explains crop formations. They reveal intelligent life in worlds of which ours is but a part. And it's terribly easy. You simply have a pattern, you superimpose it over the crop field, you zap the energy into it, and the crop lays according to that pattern. And again, this whole thing of hoax, in my book here, and I make it very, very clear that the hoax hypothesis is a false hypothesis. People are actually, Doug and Dave were employed to claim to be hoaxes. And when you actually look at the latest formations, there's no way anyone could create those formations. They appear too quickly and they are too precise. And people are just not that committed to go out night after night producing these formations. So this is the hoax. So you can see how he makes a crop circle. The skeptics drop him in the field and he flaps his arms and there you go.